the South African government and business say they are aligned on their approach heading into the World Economic Forum taking place at Davos, Switzerland in the coming week. The delegation will be led by Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana, who hosted a World Economic Forum breakfast and briefing with various role players, including ministers in the economic cluster. South Africa will participate in the forum under the Government of National Unity, and President of the G20 and the country is looking to prioritize economic growth through partnerships and collaborations in unlocking the country's potential.
South Africa is a global player in the economic space and is looking to present one message and a united front at the 2025 World Economic Forum at Davos, Switzerland in the coming week. Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana will lead the country's delegation, meeting with business for a breakfast, looking at a strategic approach to the annual global meeting. Amongst those attending the annual meeting will be Trade, Industry and Competition Minister Parks Dow, who shared in the country's optimism.
A message about cooperation between government and business. The reality that we've been working on structural reforms and they are beginning to yield the results, the regulatory instruments that we're looking at in terms of structural reforms, but also the partnerships that we have with business in addressing structural reforms in our country, the extent to which we've enabled private sector participation in different elements of the infrastructure needs, the progress that we've made with regards to the electricity environment and overall energy situation, the progress that we're making with regards to transport and logistics, the network statement that has been released by the Ministry of Transport that facilitate private sector participation in the railway networks is an indicator of a collaboration and cooperation that is yielding the results in our country. And we think that we're able to present a message that's positive.
South Africa plays host to the G20 this year, with business emphasizing the need to position the country as an investment hub. Discovery CEO Adrian Gore forms part of the SA delegation from business and says the country is beginning to turn the corner.
From a business perspective, I think there is an unequivocal feeling that this year is different. The country is at hopefully a point of inflection. There's tremendous challenges that remain. But there are a number of issues, and I think, ironically, the message of or the theme of WEF is collaboration. This is an important time, not just WEF, but coming back and hosting both the G20 and the B20 is going to be important. But I think typically the narrative of our country is worse than the reality. We need to change that. Narrative is important, and our entire focus is growth, jobs, narrative.
The country goes to WEF with some issues on their radar, with Minister Dow saying South Africa looks to salvage on partnerships and create areas of investments and collaborations with other nations on areas of common interest.
Digitization, of course, is one of the areas that we'll be engaging on, and thinking about South Africa leapfrogging in terms of the digital age and digital transformation is an important issue that would be presented. But also decarbonization, the reality of the impact of climate change, but also global treaties around climate change, talking about the just transition and what it means to the South African economy.
The Standard Bank chairperson Nonkululeko Nyembezi says the country also takes the changes in the political climate in the formation of the Government of National Unity to WEF, looking to woo investors in presenting South Africa as a politically stable country aiming for economic growth.
When we went to Davos last year, we were just ahead of the South African elections, and everybody was on tenterhooks about that. Predictions were dire. On the other side of it, we can point to a GNU that, despite all odds, has endured. So I think we see across a multiplicity of areas that foreign investors would want to see progress. We can show the progress.
The theme for the WEF 2025 is collaboration for the intelligent age, with the annual meeting kicking off on Monday. The emphasis being on partnerships and collaboration, capacity and skills building, with Team South Africa looking at capitalizing on the annual global meeting, where the country is saying it's open for business. Katlego Lorodi, SABC News in Sandton.
In the second hour of On Point, we are going to be speaking to SABC News economics editor Tshepo Mongwai about the World Economic Forum, he will be going down there to cover it for SABC News. As the Department of Transport prepares to release the road safety report for the festive season next week, representatives of the motor body repair sector are calling for vigilance amid the growing sale of rebuilt vehicles. Rebuilds are damaged vehicles sold mainly by insurance companies as their costs of repair are higher than that of the retail value. Auto body repair experts say the vehicles can pose a significant safety risk as they are more prone to accidents on the road.
Consumers in South Africa are increasingly participating in the used car market for a number of reasons, including the rising cost of new vehicles. Managing Director of Halo, Richard Green, says it is important to understand the mechanical condition of the car.
It is my view and the view of many in our industry that because many vehicles are written off, thousands of them every year by insurers, they are sent through a salvage system and are often fed back into the used car system after being repaired by unscrupulous motor body repairers. And we believe that those vehicles actually cause accidents.
Green says it is hard to track the journey of vehicles written off by insurers following a severe road accident. He adds that missing airbags are among some of the obvious bad repairs that can be visible.
I'd like to caution your viewers to perhaps even take any second-hand car that they are not 100% satisfied with to their trusted motor body repairer. Let them put it up on a jack. Let them have a look at the chassis and the safety critical components to check through the electronics whether an airbag is present, to make sure that the vehicle is in fact safe to go on the road. Those are really important things to remember.
The Minister of Transport, Barbara Creasy, and Deputy Minister Mkhuleko Hlengwa will release the road safety report for the festive season on Monday. It will provide an account of the festive season road safety campaign, as well as road crashes and fatalities during the period. Meanwhile, the National Consumer Commission has expressed concern about the rising number of complaints regarding the quality and safety of some second-hand motor vehicles. Spokesperson Peton Taba says under the Consumer Protection Act, a purchaser can return the defective vehicle to the supplier within 6 months for a refund, repair or replacement.
We receive a lot of complaints, and of course we refer a lot of complaints again to the Consumer Tribunal, and the Consumer Tribunal most of the time they rule in favor of the consumer. Now this actually tells you that there is a problem in the market, and last year what we had actually said as the NCC was to again prioritize the sector. We are engaging with other role players just to see how best we can protect consumers.
Davos says it is important for salespeople to be honest and transparent to foster trust within the industry.
That information that you are hiding from the consumer, it is of paramount importance. You don't want the consumer to drive a vehicle and then when they leave, something terrible happens to that particular vehicle. So it is within the consumer's right to receive that particular information so that they can decide whether to purchase the car or not.
Consumer watchdogs warn that addressing issues with unscrupulous motor body repairers and dealerships can be a lengthy process. As a result, consumers have been advised to thoroughly evaluate their options before completing any transactions. Nosipho Khatebe, SABC News, Johannesburg.